Welcome, Junior Tukkies. I am Miss Kutsia, and I'm here today to teach you about ecology. So the main question would be, what is ecology? So ecology refers to the study of the interaction of organisms with one another and also with their physical and chemical environment. And then secondly, what is an ecologist? So an ecologist is someone who studies the relationship between these interactions of animals and their non-living environment. So there's a variation of interactions between animals. So they are divided into 5 sections. So we have an organism, which is an individual, which is capable of growth and reproduction. Then a population is a group of one species, of the same species. And then we will find a community, which is a group of different populations in a specific area. And then lastly, we have an ecosystem, which is a combination of communities in a defined area which interact with one another. And then lastly, we have the biosphere. So this includes all the ecosystems on Earth, including you as a human. So the size of an ecosystem is not defined in terms of a specific area, but rather how organisms interact with one another. So an ecosystem can be as small as a fish tank, or even as large as the ocean. So let's have a look at different interactions in an ecosystem. So they are divided into a few groups, which we will look at. So in an ecosystem, species will be living together in a specific area and they will interact in different ways. So let's have a look at how they are divided. So firstly, we will look at abiotic factors and biotic factors. So abiotic factors refer to non-living factors in an ecosystem like wind, water, soil, and sunlight. Biotic factors are the living organisms or factors found in an ecosystem. Then we can go even further into the interaction in an environment. We are going to look at symbiosis. And symbiosis is divided into 3 sections: parasitism, mutualism, and commensalism. So what is symbiosis? So symbiosis is a way in which 2 different species living in the same area interact with one another over a long period of time. So what is parasitism? So this is where one of the species will benefit in the reaction and the other one will be harmed, like the night marsh marten parasite. So it lives within the mouth of a fish, and when the fish feeds, it actually consumes the food of the fish. That means the fish will starve to death. So there's other parasites which will actually live on the outside, on the skin of the fish, which is extremely harmful to these organisms. And they will eventually die if the parasite is not removed. The second one is mutualism. So this occurs between 2 species where both individuals benefit. So here I have a few examples. So firstly, we will look at the cleaner shrimp and the eel. So the cleaner shrimp will clean the inside of the mouth, removing parasites or even dead skin cells on the outside of the eel. And then secondly, we have a crab which gathers sponges and uses it as armor. But a sponge is a living organism, so the sponge also benefits by having a constant moving or changing food source as the crab moves around. Then lastly, we have commensalism. So this is where there's an interaction between 2 organisms and one species will benefit and the other one will be unharmed, like the remora fish and the whale shark, which hitches a ride. Then also the barnacle, which is attached to the whale, also passively filters food and just hitches a ride with the whale. Then we also have the shrimp, which hitches a ride with a sea cucumber and also causes a change in a constant or ensures a constant food resource for these organisms. So let's have a look at the next interaction. So the next one is going to be competition. So firstly, we have intra-specific competition, which is between 2 organisms of the same species, where they compete for food, water, shelter, or even someone to mate with. And then secondly, we will move over to interspecific competition. So this is where 2 different species will compete for food, water, or even shelter. And lastly, we will have a look at the feeding habits of organisms. So in this section, different species in an ecosystem will interact with one another, where one will be the food resource, like a predator and prey interaction. And that is it for my first chapter for ecology. Please make sure to watch the next chapter on ecology so that we can learn a little bit more of the environment and how to save it.